Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's new episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends. And indeed, I have brought a group of friends. I would even dare say brothers. We are going to have two amazing topics that are really meaty. 2 hours of constant talking, laughing, and having fun, which is what you're supposed to do on these podcasts. We're going to get into the newly announced state of play, 14 games, 30 minutes, some of which are going to be PlayStation VR 2.0. I guess they have to try and sell what units are on the shelves because they stopped making them. We'll see. V Rising looks actually really good. I'm hoping that that's going to be there. That's a game that I don't know if I'm going to buy day one or I'm just going to wait for a sale, but we'll see. I don't expect any major first-party announcements outside of God of War Ragnarok for PC. I bet that they show that. That wouldn't be surprising at all. We'll see. It's 30 minutes. It's 14 games. I don't think that this is the show that everyone has been waiting for. You know, that super secret scroll show that everyone's been talking about. I don't think that this is it. According to WCCF Tech, 2 days ago, they are reporting, thanks to a insider, that there's going to be a magical Sony PlayStation showcase in September. We're in May. We'll see how that plays out because usually it's a lot of FUD. But we're also, I specifically want to talk about the review process that has been, well, not really tried and true. It's just a standard way of doing reviews. Black Viking, who is here, who is, of course, one of the lead voices over at the Longhouse Gaming podcast, put this incredible chart together. And to be honest with you, some of the responses were very shocking because what it looked to do was kind of shake up the industry on how game reviews probably should be done instead of voting with your emotion about your loyalty to your plastic box. And Black Viking, good afternoon,
Yes, sir.
good evening, kind sir. That was something else that you did. You have my support. You got Hargeet's support. You got Kay Asante's support. And as a matter of fact, you got most of the community to step up and say, you know what, this is a damn good idea. How you feeling, kind sir?
Man, I'm feeling good. Thank you for having me on. Got the good brothers Hargeet Chani and Kay Asante on at my side. No, man, that the whole review spreadsheet was kind of wild. I take a little bit of responsibility for. I think I almost got like 500,000 views on it. And a lot of the responses were extremely shocking, and a lot of critical thinking wasn't put into those responses. But I'm sure we'll get into it.
Wait, was this on
I would like to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Was this on Twitter?
Yes.
Of course.
But
I had no. But listen. I didn't really care too much, and I didn't respond to like people who are just being like complete a-holes, right?
Yeah.
I was only responding to those who, like, I guess I kind of look up to. I mean, a writer from every single outlet pretty much has something nasty to say about it. Every outlet. Your Polygon, your IGN, your Kotaku, everywhere.
Unbelievable.
And I wanted to have a conversation about it. But even whenever I do respond to them, like for more context, I never got a reply back.
Well, you know why you didn't get a reply? You want to know why you didn't get a response? Because a good portion, and I'm looking right into the camera because there ain't no shame in my game. Most of these people that responded, you know what they are? They're cowards. They're keyboard cowards is what they are. Because what they do is type behind their little screen, but they wouldn't have the balls to say any of half the shit that anyone says to anyone's face, because you know what would happen? They'd get their asses handed to them. So that is why.
By the way, a Viking is why you should come out to LA, because they're all going to be there. And
for sure.
Face-to-face, ask them, yo, what's the deal? Like, why do you say this? What's going on, right?
We're going to get into it because I got to be honest with you. Nothing was more, for me, more polarizing than some of the responses I've seen with Hellblade 2. The backpedaling, the sidestepping, the excuses, the misinformation, the banana in the tailpipes, however, whatever pun you want to use to the conversation was used on a game that is going to become the benchmark for any developer who wants realism in a game like none of us have ever seen before. And we know that's true because during the Insomniac leaks, it was in the documents where they said specifically pointing out Hellblade 2 as the benchmark for how they want to tell stories moving forward. And that is a Sony first party studio. If you don't think that this game is going to completely win every award possible in all of the really big, like the BAFTAs, for instance, this is going to clean up unbelievably because not only do they have it on graphics, they have it on sound, they have it on performance. The story is tip of the spear, fantastic. If you care about anyone else but yourself, if you actually played the story and understand what Senua as a person is suffering. I understand she's a game character. She's not real. I get it. But Psychosis is. And when you can put that kind of attention on a disease that mostly goes unnoticed and uncared for in a game where, for the most part, I've said this in my review, the voices are oppressive, man. And that is something that is very hard to do. And they figured it out. But you know what? They did it with class. They did it with precision and care. And this is why it baffles my mind, which is why we're still going to talk about this. Because honestly, Kay Asante, it did seem, and you and I were having a fantastic conversation this morning about agenda versus integrity. And you yourself, even though we're not the name kind of a group of people here, because we're not looking to go to war with anyone, so we don't name the names, but we certainly can talk about it. You were shocked by some of the responses.
Absolutely. I was surprised because, oddly enough, like there are still, as you guys already know about me, I'm a podcast watcher, a viewer. I podcasts are part of my consumption of entertainment. These days, I find myself heading off to the office far more times than I care to. So I'm always listening to a podcast. I'm always catching up on something, right? I have podcasts that I've been listening to for the past 10 years, like religiously for the past 10 years. And I'm the context matters guy. I'm the well actually guy. So whenever everyone when they get their hair raised and they start talking about all the potential, agendas and FUD peddling and all of that, my first instinct is, well, there's got to be a rational explanation. Well, I want to meet you where you are, right? There's been so much talk that I've listened to over the years that I'm just like, these guys can't all be agenda driven, but for some reason, it happens over and I feel like the odd man out, right? I know many people had some issues with Hellblade 2. We're not even going to relitigate that, whether you like it or you don't like it, but to be a games journalist, and I'm not speaking specifically about journalists like in the space that right? I'm talking about people who have been entrusted, who have that responsibility to get codes ahead of time, who have been entrusted with, hey, you have a voice, you have people that listen to you, try this. And they've done that year on year on year on year for years, right? For years now. And then you get this game, right? It cannot be your subject matter. It cannot be a game you necessarily enjoy, but to objectively look at it and say, objectively, oh, this is trash and it's a regression. I'm just like, there's got to, are my eyes lying to me? Like, what is going on here? Because it boggles my mind. It just boggles my mind, right? You guys have heard me say, I'm not a card game guy. I'm not. If you give me a card game, I'll just keep it moving. I'm not a card game guy. I lost myself in Marvel Snap because I'm a Marvel zombie. It is what it is. And these days, I can't stop playing Balatro. A good game is a good game is a good game, even though I'm not a card game guy, right? I am not a multiplayer guy at all. I'm a beginning, middle, and an end campaign person. But guess what? 33 Immortals is the greatest game ever. It's so damn good. Like, it just is. I was playing that 20 minutes ago. You gotta meet a game where it is. So to be able to, you can subjectively say this is not for me, but to be able to just go, oh yeah, it was boring. Yeah, I'm just like, what is going on? Why am I don't know, man. It's making me, unfortunately, souring me to a lot of the great voices that I've been listening to for so many years, because I'm seeing the cracks in the armor at this point, and it's making me very, very disappointed. I was talking to Boom, and I'll say this: because crazier things have happened. Imagine, go here with me, right? And take it what you will, Xbox tax, whatever. Take it what you will. If one day we find ourselves in a world where, say, Neil Druckmann, right? He leaves his studio, he's not getting paid enough or whatever, right? And he opens a new studio called Mischievous Mutt. And Microsoft buys them, he'll make nothing but trash. I am convinced of it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm convinced of it. Right? Like, what? What are you talking? Anyway, yes. So that's my take on it right now. I don't know. I don't know why it's like that.
Listen, we're going to get into it. I really want to, dig our heels into it. But Hargi Chani, I want to bring you in because you actually are now starting to not only help everyone else with their podcasts, you are now focusing on your own channel. You just put out a video. You're working on a video regarding the numbness
state of PlayStation.
State of PlayStation, and that seems to be a blind eye that's being overlooked on by the gaming journalistic community, because anything Microsoft does, they're dying. They're out there selling the business, the for sale sign. Sony doesn't have to do anything, and they're winning. They don't have to release a game. They won. They don't have to because they're first place. Who cares? I cannot wait to see that video. But how you feeling, man?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for next week. We got some good stuff coming up. There is a PlayStation, state of play.
We're gonna
hopefully there's some good stuff. There's a pulse. At least there's something going on. There's a pulse going on now with PlayStation. Something, right? So good. I want to see what they have. Even if it's very little, fine. It's something. This is going to be kind of a light year for them, but fine. If they have something awesome to showcase, let's see it. And then, hey, we have COD coming into Game Pass. Finally freaking confirmed, and everybody can shut up now about that and go on with our lives. That COD is coming to Game Pass. And we have the June showcase, right? We've got all sorts of fun things coming up next week. We start Summer Games Fest on Friday, and we go from there, right? So good times. So hopefully, everybody's ready for all the fun, all the announcements that are coming, and hopefully we get some shadow drops. That'd be awesome. But whatever it is, we're gonna get some good game announcements, I'm sure, from even Summer Game Fest, from other platforms, everything, and the third party stuff, and we have the big June showcase for Xbox, plus the Call of Duty fun that's going on. And we're seeing it happen. Like, the bump in Xbox sales is happening. The bump in Game Pass sales is happening. And it's just the beginning. The marketing is happening. It's just the beginning. This is exactly what I was hoping for. All out marketing, Xbox name everywhere. I love the little trailer they already have out there. Xbox all over it. No PlayStation. I love it. It's great.
Well, look, we're covering two topics. We're going to cover the state of play, what we expect, but we're going to get into the Hellblade 2 review. Did the media use agenda or integrity for the review? I know there's a gentleman in the chat that says, in his opinion, which, again, you're absolutely entitled to have, that it's no greater than an 8 out of 10. And you know what? If that's what you feel,
a good score.
That's
8
is a pretty damn good score.
It's when it's like the first is a 9 and the second one's a 4, then I gotta say, something's wrong.
Again, we're gonna get into it, but before we actually get there, ladies and gentlemen, see, one of the ground levels. Oh, there goes the horn.
Did I do that?
Yes, sir, you did. That's right.
My fault.
You know what? I'm actually glad that you did that, sir, because we're literally going to talk about the Longhouse Gaming Podcast.
When the Longhouse in the house, them horns got to come. I'm sorry.
When those horns come out, you got to talk about the Longhouse Podcast.
Out of nowhere.
That scared me, man. My fault.
So look. as everyone knows, Mrs. Boom and I have been doing the channel for not even 6 years. We are a stone throw away from 6 million views in under 6 years, which is insane. Like, that is insane numbers for a mom and pop kind of a organization like Double Barrel Gaming. And obviously, we're all about supporting others. We're all about pushing everyone to greater heights. If that means being greater than us, then that means that we've done our jobs. So I'm asking, and I'm going to drop it in the chat, the Longhouse Gaming Podcast, one of the hottest podcasts to come out this year, is 30 subs away from 2K.
Oh, yeah.
They're at 1.97. We got 626 people here. I'm asking, he don't have to ask. The Black Skeleton doesn't have to ask. Supernova doesn't have to ask. But I'm asking, because that is what we do here. So I'm going to drop it in there, folks. And I'm going to ask that you go over and you sub and you get them to 2K live on the air, as we've done with countless other podcasts. And you know something? It's just Mrs. Booms and I, our way of kind of paying it forward, if you will.
Thanks, man.
So no, absolutely, brother. Listen, you know what?
Sweet.
Let's get into the conundrum that is the gaming media and how you review games. Black Viking, I'm going to hand it over to you, because
man,
you did something that I thought was not only ingenious, I thought it was perfectly timed based on some of the very poor takes that come the way of Hellblade 2. Now, listen, I get it that it may not be a game for you for whatever reason. And you know what? That is okay. But we have to judge the game for the game. And I think it's really honest and it's ground level to say that if we are comparing Hellblade 2 to Hellblade 1, every checkbox to make a better product is there. Graphics, tip of spear. Sound, tip of spear. Now, the fighting and the action may not be, God of War, but that's not what this game is supposed to be. Is the fighting better in this game compared to the original? For me, it is, because it's up close and personal. It is in your face. You are fighting for your life. It is visceral. It's vicious. She gets thrown around like a rag doll. She is not a warrior princess. She's not Xena. She is just a girl trying to help her people. So as a character, she has grown from the last one. And everything about the first one, which was done by 16 people, by the way. This game, 4 times the amount of people, 80 people made this game. Again, I just want to talk about how the scores, because there were some, again, we're not going to name names here, Viking, that showed crying for the first game and then gave the second game a 6 because of everything that they were crying over in the first game. It makes no sense to me. And I'll take it a step further. A particular website gives this game a 45. A 45. And honestly, it counts because they are a part of Metacritic. And I think that ultimately it is wrong. So you come up with this idea where don't get me wrong, it's a stout list to follow. It's a lot, but if you're talking about doing justice and taking seriously what you are putting pen to paper for, this is how you do it. Let's talk about it, man.
All right, so first of all, I want to really thank my good brother K Asante, because I dropped this in our DMs, and he pretty much motivated. He's like, "Yo, this is perfect." So he motivated me to go ahead, because I used this behind the scenes anyway for my Tales of Kanzara review. I used this, but I never transparently showed it, right? So this time, first of all, I want to tell you what this score sheet or whatever is not. It is not a replacement for a written review. I think written reviews are perfect for how you feel about a game personally, and and culturally, right? Like how fun was it for you? What moved you? What did it remind you of? You have to do that with writing a review, right? Same thing with whenever, like, boom, your video for Hellblade, your review, perfectly done, right? You spoke to what made this game special to you, and some people can speak to what the game isn't for them, right? But what I like to do is, all right, so like I speak or write about how I feel about the game, which I have done all last week. Now, before I give it a score, I have 5 criterias within this. I have game mechanics, story character development, sound and music, graphics and artistic style, innovation and creativity. Now, under each one of those, there's like anywhere between 4 and 8 subcategories, right? So like, for example, I'm sorry if I'm boring you guys, but I won't do all of it. Category A for game mechanics, right? So I have a bunch of criteria: control systems, level design, physics, environmental interaction, gameplay variety, flexibility, etc., right? And same thing with sound and music, soundtrack composition, voice acting quality. But like, I rate those on how I feel about the game. It's not objective. It's all this is still subjective, right? On how I feel, but it gives due to the creators of the game. And what I try to do is match as much of the intent of the game is to my score, right? So for graphics and fidelity, right, I'm going to judge Hellblade on what they were trying to accomplish versus what I just think about the art style, right? Just like how I would for any other game. What were they trying to accomplish with the voice acting? What were they trying to accomplish with the level design? Did they do it on a scale of 1 to 10, right? And then I weight each one of those categories equally, right? And the reason why I do that is because my preference may be I'm more of a graphics or fidelity guy and a game mechanics guy versus sound and innovation. But you might like sound and innovation. So with this scale, you can see on a rating from 1 through 100, each one of those categories, what I rated it. So for Hellblade, for example, game mechanics, I have a 77 out of 100. Story character development, 97 out of 100. Sound and music, perfect, 100 out of 100. Graphics and artistic style, 98 out of 100. And innovation creativity, 89 out of 100. And all that together came out to a 92. Right? So that's how you get to actually see how I got my score versus, it feels like a 6.5 or it felt like a 9. You get to see I'm transparent with you on how I came up with that final score.
Sanchez MTC Gaming says, I wanted a cleaner Senua. He looked too dirty.
So, and this is version 1. I think a lot of the kickback was, how would you rate a Tetris? Or how would you like Madden doesn't have puzzles? Like, of course, I'm not going to use the same scorecard
but it can be
each
scaled.
genre.
See,
exactly.
What you're asking. See, this is where we know that the industry is driven by many things that have nothing to do with actual reviewing the game.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm sorry. It just is what it is. People, I want to use the term extremely loosely here. There is no longer journalistic integrity. There is just not. What these kids, and I'm calling them kids because I'm 53 years old, I'm sure that they're in their 20s and 30s, are going on their feelings. How did it make you feel?
Which Boom, I think to a level is fair, right? Because
it's fair.
Art has, but I think Viking, you're pointing out the opposite side of that is like feelings can get in the way of sometimes saying, yeah, but like that part of it, that is pretty kick-ass, and I should recognize that that's pretty kick-ass, right?
Yeah, even though it's not might be for me,
bad, but right,
exactly. Even though it might not be for me, it still doesn't mean that it's not great. I hate Souls-like games, hate them, won't play them. I'll play some, right? But like I just won't. Like Elden Ring, like I liked it because it was so pretty, right? But like I won't play him. But that doesn't mean Elden Ring is a 9 or a 10 out of a 10 game. Period. Regardless of how I feel about it. You know what I mean? Like we have to recognize that.
Yeah, and I think the answer to this is not like change the reviewer, because you're never going to do that.
No,
What you do is you change the aggregator. And I don't know if Meta or Open will be open to it. So to heck with that. You know what we should do? We should put together our own. We should put together our own that requires that. It requires a scale. And to your point, there's some games where it's like that part is just not going to be applicable. So you just, mute that, and we'll give you like, there's 3 gimmies out of like 8 different categories, right? That 3 you can skip because they just don't meet the game's criteria, right? Fine. But the rest of them have to be filled in. Our point scale is not going to be, 5 stars or what. No, it's 0 to 100. You got to fill it in this way for each one of those categories, right? Just to make it totally clean and transparent to everybody.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I think we should just do it. It doesn't take much. We just do it. Let's just freaking do it. And then we can just lock it that way and say, all right, guys, if you want to put it here, right, here you go. Right. And then we can start putting our reviews in there and then invite other like media people. Hey, you want to put it in here? Sure. Why not?
So
You're
I don't,
welcome
so
to do so.
I understand like
you
with
meet our criteria.
But I understand like where like most people, I swear to God, it's probably 90% of people just straight up go to the score. They don't look at your video. Nope. They scroll to the bottom or to the very end to see what the score was. Same thing on the written. They scroll to the bottom to see what the score was. And then maybe, just maybe, they might read about it. They might read your review. I don't want to get rid of the written portion. There's the artistry in that. Of course. Right? There's artistry in the written portion, right? I don't want to get rid of that. For anybody who's coming after me talking about, well, this is just a scorecard. Like this is art. Like I get that it's art. It's also a product. There's also consumers, and I want to relate the best message that I can to these consumers or to the gamers about what this game actually is versus just me 90% of my feelings about it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So good.
And I think one of the things you pointed out is something we should also capture, right? I don't like Souls games, but I'm reviewing Elden Ring. Okay, I'm going to take that with a little bit of a little bit of bias then, right? You 100%. Might be a little lower than somebody else in some of these things because you're going in saying, I hate these kind of games. Fair enough, right?
Right.
So I think that should be reflected.
Yeah, so that's what we do at the Longhouse is that, I will never play like Metrovania. That's Black Skellington all the way. He has all the reviews for the Metrovanias. He knows them in and out, right? I think he's the best person for the job to accurately scale or rate a review of a Metrovania game. Same thing with my Supernova. Like when it comes to co-op type games, he's the guy, right? Like I'm pushing everything towards him. If it comes to 4X type games, like strategic game, hit me with it. I need it. So like, yeah, I think that goes a long way. And then letting viewers know like, hey, these are some of my favorite games. This is my favorite genre. These are my least favorite genres. So then that way I'm transparent about why my score is the way it is. And you can take it with a grain of salt or really like it. So.
No, I mean, look, you did something that shook the gaming journalistic community at its core, which is why you got a lot of nasty messages from people within the industry.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope that you got some receipts because I know I would have kept some. I like aces up the sleeves, and these are representatives of outlets that not thousands but millions of people go to. Now, I understand, like I don't like IGN. You folks know that. I used to be a guy that paid the $39 a year to keep the lights on for him. Because I watched all of their shows, and then something happened. They turned, they changed. I got disenchanted with them. I stopped watching all their stuff, and well, you know what? They are who I thought that they were, and that's why I don't pay them any damn attention. But it is what you did, Viking, was I think triumphant in my personal opinion.
Thanks,
and look, it's not going to replace, like you said, the written review, but it certainly would give. Look, I'm never going to say. First of all, if someone does a review, if I like it, I'll get to hit the thumbs up button. I've watched a lot of the Senya reviews. Some of them I thought were spot on. Some of them I thought were unbelievably skewed. And you know what? It doesn't matter to me because I know what game I like. I gave it a 10. And I explained in my video, which was 10 minutes and 19 seconds long, why it was a 10 out of 10 for me. Not capping for Xbox. No, I was moved by this game. So much so that I'm in my third playthrough. That is a game that grabbed me. And again, I reviewed it for a game, but there's a message there. And if you take the time to read between the lines, you would know that. And if that matters to you, then it should be reflected in your review. If you don't give a shit, I understand you just want to play a game. That's fine. I'm not saying you should care about mental illness. I do. I think it's incredibly important. And I think that the way it was done was pure class.
Thank you.
And again, this is why I gave it a 10 out of 10. But listen, you are less than 10 subs away from 2K, ladies and gentlemen. Three. Well, listen, I mean, can we get 3 people? I'm going to drop this link in here. Like I said, I don't ask for myself. Can we get 3 people in this chat to cross them to 2K live on the air? Can we do this, please? 3 people, get in there and sub so we can, and I'm going to refresh right now. Here we go. Refreshing. We're still at we're at 1.99, folks. Come on. Help a brother out. Let's get into 2K. They do some good work, man. I listen to your show I was listening to today as I was cleaning the house. And I usually snap a picture and be like, what are you listening to? I didn't have a chance. I was busy as all hell today. Today is one of those days.
Good, man.
Yeah, so look. Hargeet, let's go to you and let's try and make sense of this. This is one of those games. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you folks. For me personally, and this is my take. Agree with it, don't, that's fine. I understand. I honestly, in my heart of hearts, believe that games media in their current state is never going to, and I mean this from my heart and soul, you are never going to get a fair review of an Xbox game without the but at the end of the sentence. I loved it, but it was fantastic, but it was the greatest thing since sliced bread, but that is what you're going to get. And even if it's released on PlayStation, they'll find a way to say the PlayStation version is better because that is ultimately what games media is. And that is why you're seeing Microsoft kind of just throw up the hands and they're putting games on everywhere, here, there, and everywhere, because at some point they just care about money. And to me, like I said, look, I'm an old dog. I'm never gonna sanction or sign off on Halo going to PlayStation or anything like that. I'm just never gonna like it. Is it gonna happen? Hopefully not. But if it does, I'll say my piece. I'm never gonna agree with it. But I want to bring this back around, Hargeet, to the review thing, because I really do think that there is a. The way I like to paint it for you is it's Microsoft or specifically Xbox ice skating uphill when it comes to these reviews. It does not matter when Indiana Jones comes out, it's going to be because of something. It should have been third person. It should have been like an Uncharted game.
Oh, that's already there, right? Why is it first person? I'm going to throw up.
Why is it first person? How come it's not like Uncharted?
I can't take the motions.
Yeah, the motion sickness. Let talk about it, brother. What are your thoughts on to what Black Viking was talking about regarding his potential new chart that people could follow?
Yeah, I mean, as I was saying, I think the answer is we just create our own freaking Metacritic equivalent and just require it, and then see if it takes off. Right? If we start putting stuff there and people like it, they'll start having to put their stuff there too. The media will have to just do it, right? And community driven is one way to go. And there's enough of us out there to actually review games. You reviewed this game, Boom. I reviewed it, right? So we can do the same things and say, hey, this is what I thought. It could be a written thing as well. It can be a video thing as well, right? And say, hey, this is what my feelings of the game are, but we have a scale, and it tells you the reasons why I picked this, and this, that way, and here's my score, right? So I think that's the way you do it. We could approach one of those big aggregators, Open or Metacritic, and see if they want to take on something like that. I don't know if they do. I think it's good for them, but this is how you fix them. You just create competition that works. And people will then flock to it and say, well, cool, I see what Open has, I see what Meta has. Let me go over here to see how people rated it, right? And why do they think it's a 4? Why do they think it's a 9, right? And try to figure that out, right? And somebody who just thinks it's a 10 may say, like, well, why is it just a 10? Like, that's ridiculous. Maybe there's no such thing as 10. This is why they thought it was a 10, right? So I think that's the right answer to that. As far as the bias against Xbox, I mean, we've been seeing this for like a decade. It's just the way it is. Since the freaking Xbox One came out, there has been this pervasive negative everything against Xbox. And I don't know if it's always been there, but it didn't feel like that in 360 gen, especially at the beginning. It felt like the momentum was on the 360 side, and it was PlayStation that was fumbling and bumbling at all the negative shit. Viking, you're muted.
You know why? I think all this has turned into an SEO game, to be honest.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. They just want clicks.
That is the word I was looking for. The SEO
right?
is what people are chasing. Clicks. Yes, it is.
The downside to that is if they just keep doing this negative cycle against Xbox, it never lets them try to compete, because the mindset out there is, I want to be on the winning side, and that seems to be over there, not over here. And maybe just the sheer number of games changes that. I think Call of Duty is doing that. It's the marketing. I've been waiting for that marketing, right? Yeah. People are already buying Xboxes because they're like, what? Oh, Xbox? Oh, let's go. Mm-hmm. I'm getting an Xbox. Let's go. Yeah. Right. And, they're starting to learn about Game Pass. This is great. Even if they don't subscribe to Game Pass, just the fact that they see Xbox on Call of Duty, it's going to bring people over, right? The excitement starts to come this way. And, I think that's going to help them, but like this constant negativity just kind of sucks. It does. But it's just every time there's like you were saying, there's a but. This is great, but why is there a but? Like, it'd be fine if it was every time you saw that, hey, Zelda came out and this is great, but was there a but? It's like a 96.
Like I broke my sword too many times, 2 out of 10.
Like, what is that? Like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And by the way, that might even be a fair criticism. Why do the weapons break? But it's part of the mechanic, right? Fine. Like, I don't understand why it's not like that. When like Last of Us Part 2, this one just really gets me. Half the community, PlayStation gamers, don't like that game. Half the community
hated.
0 critics hate that game.
Zero critics. The story in 2. I love the graphics. I love the stealth mechanics and the weapon buildings, but the story was horrendous, and it was told in a disjointed way. It probably should have. Yes.
Where was the but?
No.
Where was the but? Like, you saw it pervasively. You got it. At least one critic had to come out and say, "Yeah, but." Not one? Really? Not one. Not one. Nobody really had a problem with that. And this is where it becomes crazy. Like, you just can't tell me that game is that good when half the players on that platform don't like it. Come on. That just seems a little off,
I mean, I don't know.
This is one of the things I don't like, right? It's fair to criticize 100%. It's fair to criticize, but then be the same, have the same energy for everybody. Equivalently, you say this was bad in that game. Now, for the most part, by the way, it seems to work. It's the fringes. Every now and then you run into, like, out of 100 reviews, 10 will be crazy. And you're like, well, why do those 10 have to be crazy? Why can't they just be like everybody else and say, well, I like these parts, I didn't like these parts. There you go. That's the review. That's totally fair. It's, I like these parts, I don't like these parts. And it's Xbox. Fuck you, Xbox. Sorry for the language. And therefore, it's down 5 points. What do you mean? It's like, what does that have to do with anything? Where did that? It's a studio making a game. What does it have to do with who owns it? Oh, because let's say this game was published by Xbox, was made by a prolific studio. We don't care. Is that going to happen when what was it 100 what was the studio from the
the Rocksteady guys, 100
stars.
Yeah.
If that game is like Arkham level awesome, right? And it should be like a 94. Are they going to dock it points because it's published by Xbox?
Yes, it's already lost 10 points. The game's 5 years out. It's a 90
what?
already.
like that's insanity. Like this is a studio that with like a prolific, like background that's made awesome games, and you're telling me it's gonna just automatically be like hit because
there is some journalist in California right now in his little phone, probably an iPhone, going 5 years in advance and writing 100 stars, Xbox published game 78 without even playing the game. But again, it's 5 years out. He gave it a 78 already.
Come on, so again, it's not going to be the majority of them. The majority of them are going to be fair. I understand that. It's just the fringes, and the fringes make a difference. It changes like an 84 to an 81. Yes. It's the fringes.
Yes,
and that's the difference. Is there a reason for that? Now that happens to other games too, but it happens for controversial reasons, right? But it does not have to be that way. Like the controversy shouldn't be because Microsoft is putting it out. That's not a controversy. It's a platform. Stop it. Like you just need to stop that. So hopefully that goes away, but I don't think it will. The other thing I don't think they ever shake is that they don't make enough games. And I'm sick of the narrative. In my video, I'm showing like literally the same number of games have come out from PlayStation and Xbox.
Yep.
1-to-1, literally the same. And if I say, oh, but PlayStation has bigger games. No, Xbox has more bigger games than PlayStation does. But nobody cares. They always just say, oh, God of War is equal to 4 million other games. No, it's not. Xbox has Minecraft, the largest game, period. Period. You just don't want to recognize it because you don't want to play it. That's the problem. You want big games? Call of Duty, Minecraft, World of Warcraft, Overwatch. I could keep going. They have large games. Sea of Thieves has more players than any PlayStation game, period.
Yep.
Sea of Thieves.
Hey, listen, Hargeet, listen, I'm gonna get on my flight sim kick here for a second.
I knew we were gonna get a flight sim.
Right? Flight Simulator is one of the best looking and most technical games out there. Period. Period.
Simulator is actually used for training pilots.
Correct. You can get your flight hours with that.
In the real world.
And it gets no due. It gets no due.
Right. And so you want big games? You want live games? Xbox gotcha. They gotcha. Right? You want big games that people can play with adventure stories? Is Halo a bad adventure story? I think it's a pretty good story. I don't know. It seemed to get an 86 story. Meta.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good game. Right? It's like these are the things that just kind of annoy me. Like that they give you games. It's not enough. It's never enough. When is it going to be enough?
It's never going to be enough. You know how you know
they'll give you these 20 games that are coming, right? You still say they have no games.
Yes.
It's like, well, when is it enough? Tell me when you're going to say it's enough. But it's not Spider-Man. I don't care if it's not Spider-Man. Do you know how many Spider-Mans Activision has? They put all those in Game Pass. Is that enough? Nope.
No.
They just never win. They never win.
You know what's interesting? Now, ultimately, first of all, we got almost 850 people here, right? Which is great. So 850 people plus the 4 of us, right? At our core, right? We're nerds, we're enthusiasts, we're diehards, whatever terminology you want to use. But at our core, we're consumers, and we should want the best for our bucks, especially in 2024. May 29th, 2024, everything is expensive. No matter where you go, it's just expensive. So we should want to maximize our enjoyment in gaming, and Xbox does that. And do you know how many articles I saw yesterday? No names, because you can go find them yourself. Again, I'm not looking to go to war with anybody, but I will. Understand that. I won't back down. I'll call you to the carpet, and you're going to buck first. Trust me when I tell you. But I am going to say this. How many articles did I read yesterday about, oh my God, what are we going to do? Game Pass is going to go out of business. Microsoft, they have to sell 2.5 to 3, 11 millions to gold. The numbers games that people were jumping through hoops to try and make sense of Call of Duty going into Game Pass had me rolling out of my chair. The unbelievable amount of hoops that people were trying to jump through to make this a bad thing was baffling to me. Everyone, I don't care what site you work for, should be cheering on this. Why don't you ask PlayStation to put Spider-Man back in? Because they took it out when Spider-Man 2 was going to come out. You know why? So they can upsell you on the old Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
No one said anything. No one said anything. It's to me, it is crazy. But look, you know what? Two things. One, we got to get
their motto is "Thank you, sir. May I have another?"
Thank you, sir. Can I have another one? Santa, I really want you to kind of dig your teeth into what we were talking about this morning, because it really was insightful for sure. Really well thought out. But before we do that, congratulations, gaming. The Longhouse Gaming Podcast has officially crossed 2K.
Hey.
They're at 2.01K subscribers.
Look at
Congratulations,
that.
brother. There you go.
Bruh.
Live on the air.
Thank you guys so much. We had 2017. Y'all are the best.
There
I
you
love
go.
y'all.
That
Thank
is
you
what
so
I
much.
am talking about. So, Santo, let's get your hot take on this, because this morning's conversation was really good. And you know, I can't say I've ever seen you taken aback the way you were taken aback.
Yeah, it's surprising. So real quick, let me first address the whole thing with the Longhouse metrics score sheet real quick, okay? So the brother Black Viking sends that to me in the DMs, and I'm thinking about it, right? And let me be clear here. Long story short, all the and Black Viking, you should not even dignify these things with a response, because that is adjudicating some false narratives already, right?
Yeah.
Everyone just keeps peddling straw man arguments at you. Oh, but what if it's a game that doesn't have a narrative? Oh, but what if it's this? No one is telling you to be locked on the score sheet. It's the idea that there's a score sheet that's supplemental to your review. That's the idea. The logistics and the details within doesn't matter. You can change the criteria based on what you think is important. And then it's just like the reason why I thought it was so magnificent is it's literally showing your work. It's a math equation. You know, have you ever been to math class? What's the score? 15. How'd you get there? No, right? Then there's a lot of room for BS, right? Then there's he felt like this one. Obviously, we're talking about subjective art. Obviously, no one needs to say that, because there is no one right answer. All this serves to do is to explain, like, get rid of that stupid debate of you didn't see the combat, it's all right there. Right? Your list can be woefully different than my list, but the fact that you have one digs into the details for you, so we can stop this BS about, oh, they have an agenda or they have a narrative. Imagine if that list was brought to bear on, let's say, what do you call it? What's the I keep forgetting the name. What's the Harry Potter game that came out that's so good? Hogwarts Legacy. Imagine if Wired had to go through a score sheet, which gave it a 2 out of 10 or whatever. Imagine if they had to go to a score sheet, right? Yeah. And that was part of the supplemental material. How would they get rid of that? Zero.
They would lose their credibility. And also Kay Asante, what it does is serve as continuity for that reviewer. So I can see what you scored a 10 before and what you're scoring now, a 2, and see if you're full of shit or not. So
but it also filtered out, because they wouldn't do it, right? Exactly. They wouldn't do it. It'd filter out from, and that's why I want the aggregator. I like the aggregator. Go ahead and give it a 2, but it won't show up in the meta. Look, because you're going to filter yourself out.
At the end of the day, if you are earnestly reviewing a product, right, you have that criteria in your head as well, right? You've thought, oh man, did you see them graphics? I didn't like the combat too much. Oh, this or that. You have all of that there. All we're asking you to do potentially is take your criteria, put it on the list, add it as supplemental content to your written and or your video guide. So that way, when somebody goes, "Come on, man, you didn't see the combat, right?" So when the Black Viking starts frauding and talking to me about effects, I'm like, "Come on, bro, you didn't see that." And then, frankly, I did see the effects at the last scene, and I'm like, "Okay, I see what he did." But, it was a little 30 frames on that fire right there. I see what he's talking about. But these are the conversations you can have. But everyone's all like, "Oh, well, this is what was my favorite one? This is rookie reviewing," and then eventually,
yeah.
And I just want to jump through my screen and use the 5 to the hands. Like, what is wrong with you? We see the naked disingenuousness right on our screens. Come on, I'm sorry, right? So I will say that for anyone who's sitting there going, "Oh, but you can't fit like a Mario into," shut up. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Why can't you fit a Mario into that?
You can. Exactly. You can.
Then Mario games are beautiful on their own, right? So
how are you going to score? How are you going to score a story in Forza versus The Last of Us? Like, oh God! Like, it just makes my head.
You're doing it already. You're already scoring.
So anyway,
like what?
So, Hargeet, I completely agree with you on the idea that, hey, you got to roll your own sometimes, right?
Yeah,
you got to roll your own. I am one that firmly stands behind the likes of like the Wandering Dutch, who's like, "You know what? Screw these award shows. I'm gonna host my own little mini event."
Yep. Do your own.
This is so and again, it's not to say these are the rules of the road, these are the scores that you use, these are the criteria. No, it's the fact that you've been to math class, you have a cheat sheet, you did pluses and minuses, and this is how you came to your score, right? You didn't use ChatGPT and you can prove it. Here's your reasons, right? That's all this is, right? Supplemental material to inoculate us from those dumb arguments about, "Oh, he just had an agenda." Clearly, if you don't feel like you have an agenda, right, you will gladly show your work so that this becomes not a problem for you. But of course, as soon as my brother put this out there, what did he get? "Tell me you are a hater without telling me you are a hater." Everybody had something BS to say, right? Rather than, "Hey, the brother came up with an interesting idea. Maybe I'm a reviewer. I've been doing this for some years. Let me give him some pointers. Let me hit him off with some information that may make this thing better." No. Get this out of here. "Oh, this is what is it? Preschool. This is." I am sorry. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. And the more you did, it's like The Rock just going, "I smell it." You know what I mean? Like, it was hilarious. Anyway, so I for one stand with this.
Or was it
okay. So from, I think 98% of the industry, journalists and reviewers alike, 98% was extremely negative. I had about 2% of people that, if you go to my quote tweets, you'll see all the negative ones, right? But some people responded back that have been doing reviews for a long time that had some valid critiques, and we were talking it through, right? Like, and that was cool. But the other ones were extremely dismissive. I tried to clarify, and most of the time would not receive a response.
"Oh, you're going to make more work for me? Oh, I have to show my work? Oh, I can't do one of these? Get this out of here." Like, come on, man.
You know what?
It's ridiculous.
One of the things that I find for specifically like Metacritic, for instance, you can be sent a code by Xbox, like I was, which I was incredibly surprised. I did not think I was going to be a part of the review process for this. I really didn't. It's a big game. The fact that they recognize the channels just bugged out to me, right?
Yeah.
I get it. I take it seriously. Like, I don't like reviewing games because I don't like having to power through a game to give a score. I want to enjoy the game. And my first run was 14 and a half hours, and I played it like I normally would, because I got the game on a
run was 17 hours. I had to Photoshop every 5 seconds.
I had almost 12 hours. Yeah, for me.
Your mileage is going to vary based on how you play. I took a lot of pictures. I tried to find everything on my first go around. I didn't. I missed, I think, 11 collectibles. Went back through my second one, found all 11. Playing through it again now. It's It is what it is. It's a shame that you can have an idea like the Black Viking did, put a lot of forethought and a lot of real, oomph behind what he was trying to do. And unfortunately, the pushback, which you would have thought would have been maybe 50-50, was like you heard from him, 98-2. And
well, but you know what? Let's be fair, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
But let's be fair. All of us consumers of these reviews, those of us who care, because clearly there are many of us who care. The ones that actually care about consuming these reviews,
they liked it.
I put it on my show.
They liked it. Okay,
like,
that's
like 90% to like, and that tells you you're onto something, right? All the review consumers are like, "Yo, this is amazing." All the reviewers who stick their finger in the air and make decisions.
I think we should do it.
Now, for those who go, "Why is such a big deal?" It's not a big deal, but these are the same MFers who control award shows. They decide what gets into the awards. These are the same people whose feelings decide what bonuses come from, by and large, in certain instances. So it does really matter.
They ultimately have the power to see a studio fail or succeed.
Exactly.
Really? Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you give a game that's decent a 74 instead of an 81, that might be the decision to buy, play, or not. Right.
And not to put on the tinfoil kufi, but these days consolidation is big. So when one decides we're going left, we're all going left. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. So this is far more important. I'm sorry, let me take the kufi off. But the point is, at the end of the day, it is kind of like I was talking to Boom this morning. I have been beside myself because what you guys will know from me on Twitter and whatnot. I tend to put my kids, like I watch my kids play and I put videos or pictures of my kids up. I like to talk about positivity on the internet, right? It's a tool that everyone uses. Some people use it for clickbait. I like to use it to spread positivity. I like to use it to spread fun gaming things. And for some reason, this week, specifically with Hellblade, I could not get away from like wild negativity. Let's just wild negativity about this thing, right? Oh, it's not a game. So what? Honestly, I think the idea of a game does this product a disservice because games have childish connotations. They have come to those who don't know better go, it's a game. It needs to have game, movies are so broad and so wide, they are now considered art, right? There are some movies that you won't show your kids. There are some movies you won't watch with your family, right? There are movies that everyone needs to sit down and watch together as a family. There are so much swaths of different genres and tastes in between. Why is it that games have to be whittled down to the sad dad over the shoulder simulator, like constantly?
They keep on telling me it's art. I don't know why they're not treating it like it.
which is subjective, which has so many different aspects to it.
Yeah.
Look, I'm an old school hip hop lover, right? Old school hip hop. When y'all started to mumble, y'all lost me. That is what it is. I feel like the world is all about mumble rap, and if you have anything besides mumble rap, it's not rap anymore. Like, what are you talking about, right? All must be allowed to live. I can see a world where companies like Netflix go, this thing, that's going to be part of our supplemental material now, right? What happens when they decide, okay, the show is over, but we want more in this realm because it's minimal on the gameplay, right? And it's not no gameplay, it's minimal on the gameplay, and it's more focusing heavily on the story. And because of that, they focus so much on that story, so engrossing. And when I say that, don't get it twisted. I want an arena mode because to me too, the combat is on point. Yes. The combat, like if I want to give it one bit of criticism, it's that they did the Elden Ring thing, figure it out. And most people didn't want to figure it out. Actually, two things that were wrong. One, they did the Elden Ring thing of figure it out. And then two, they made the combat difficulty dynamic. If you want to make it figure it out, keep the combat difficulty what it is, which is hard, and it forces you to figure it out. Since it was dynamic difficulty and figure it out, people just went click, click, click. Oh, I beat it. This is boring. No, it's so in depth. if you spend the time to look at it. I bet if you went to the studio and looked at their sheet of everything that she could do, it's pretty damn extensive. They just kept all that from you, right? To me, yes, it would have taken away from the immersiveness of it all. I get it. I get that, right? I know why they did it. I appreciate why they did it. I heard things like, well, they put the bars on the top and the bottom to save themselves some resources. Shut up. 21 by 9 screen, I got no bars. The whole thing is screen, right?
Yeah.
Ew, there's just nothing but more and more disingenuous ridiculousness, okay? So I will tell you, this experience has really changed me. There are some podcasts and some shows that I have literally grown up on. I started listening to them when I had no gray beards, and now I am the gray beard. But I'm no longer listening to them because, unfortunately, I see the cracks in the armor now. It's just really, really unfortunate. You know, that's what I got.
Ultimately, it's disappointing. But look, I got to catch up on Super Chats, and we're going to move on to the state of play because that's going to be a discussion that I can't wait to hear everyone's take. I am not expecting a lot because Sony doesn't have a lot. And if they did, they would have told us already. I have the report from WCCF Tech where an insider is claiming that there's definitely going to be a show this September. We've been waiting for that year of dream show since.
If they're going to have the PS5 Pro, that's about the time they need to have a a
Yeah,
I would imagine
August.
So. Yeah, August, September. Yeah,
they're releasing it for November.
Assuming
we'll see. But let me catch up on Super Chats, and we will get into that. E-Rock Math drops a very generous $5 Super Chat and says, Black Viking Man, I can't say enough good things about your review criteria. I trust you are far more than any IGN propagandist. Keep it up, bro. I mean,
thanks, man.
Hey, that's very kind of you to say, and he definitely appreciates that. Nightwolf 3186 drops a very generous $5 Super Chat and says, hey, Boom, great show as always. Thank you so much. And kudos to Kay Asante for the turtle shirt. Now can we please get that Turtles game we all want in the Arkham style?
Oh, hell yeah. Let's do it.
Oh, dude, if that's what they're working on. If that's what they're working on.
Could you imagine? That would be crazy. That's great, man. I love that. That's a great idea. Spartan661, who's been a channel member for 10 months, brother, thank you so much for the continued support, says, how many of you panel members are bringing your Series S with your attachment screen and or portable game system to the shows in LA this year? Yeah, I'm definitely bringing my ROG Ally. I'm bringing my Switch.
I'll bring my ROG, but to be honest, I think we're going to be so booked that we are booked. Won't matter.
Yeah,
I usually crash in my room and go to sleep.
Yeah,
and this time we don't even have the extra day. It's going to be it's just be jam packed. I don't know. We'll see. We might not be doing a lot of gaming. In fact, the only time I had free time, Boom, I ended up doing showcases not podcasts. So I was like, so here's what we found. Here's what I talked about. Here's what we got. So that basically is all I had time for.
I will release the schedule. I am going to be doing. So we're traveling on. I'm traveling on Thursday, flying out to California early. I'm not doing a show Thursday. I am doing a breakfast with Boom, and Kay Asante is going to be in real life doing the show with me. So we're going to be doing that. We're doing like maybe a prediction show. We'll talk about, what happened on Thursday, what's going to happen that day. I probably will do a show on Saturday for a bit. I'm bringing all my equipment with me, and I'm definitely going to be doing a show after the Xbox showcase to kind of go over everything. I don't have the times, or I will figure all that out.
Doing that. I could help you do that. I could probably be on that because the Giant Bomb thing's later. So
yes.
So we'll see. We'll probably get out at like 3 o'clock or something like that. So we should have some time.
This is the first time I'm going. I'm gonna be a shadow, bro. Where you go, I follow. Let's go.
Yeah. We'll all be moving together. Don't worry about it.
It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be good. Yes. So you'll get coverage from everybody. But once I get there, I'll be able to put it out. The feelers and let you guys and gals know exactly when I'm doing shows, but I will be doing live podcasts from LA in my hotel room. And we'll chop it up. Adidas 20 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, I'm here sending Hargeet olives. Yeah, I love it. That's good. Fark Q drops a very generous £2 super chat and says, "I'm here sending Hargeet hot dogs."
Oh,
Wow.
boy. We're not doing the hot
going
dogs
on
thing.
here? You know.
Oh
Sorry.
my goodness.
No, you haven't seen the hot dogs thing? I'll show you later.
I have
yeah.
not. No.
And Mark Man.
I don't think I want to
05.
see your hot dogs. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What?
Pause. No Diddy.
Exactly.
No, did
Exactly. Yeah.
Mark Man 05 drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Love that Hargeet stood his ground on his 5 out of 10."
Not mine. Not my 5 out of 10. On the 5 out of 10.
Yeah. No, that's good stuff.
Because both
On the
Zocker
5 out of
and
10, yes.
yeah, Zocker and Fonz both gave it 5. I think Zocker's was 5 and Fonz is 5.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you, Hargeet, that if they used my metric sheet, it would at least come to a 7, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
probably.
I mean, listen,
Probably.
I listen, I'm not going to fight with anybody over their opinion. I personally cannot wrap my head around a 5 for that game.
Well, I can give you the reason why. They couldn't even finish the first one. They hated the game so much they couldn't even finish the first one.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like,
so
I got to point out then, look, this is so much better that you actually bloody finished it. I'm just saying, even though you gave it a 5, it's that much better that you actually finished it. Yeah. So yes, it's not for you. It is 100% not a game for you. You couldn't even finish the first one. So I'm just saying it's not a game for you, right? So I get those. I get those where it's like, I didn't even like the first one. The second one, yeah, I finished it, but it's not good for me. Fine, I get that, right? It's when you're at 9 and you go down to a 4, I have to question that.
Yeah.
Like, hold on a second. Like what?
Let's see. Hellblade. Dan Lazaro drops a very generous $5 super chat and says Hellblade was 100 times more fun than Breath of the Wild and its sequel. By the way, the critic that gave it a 45 gave DJ Hero 100.
Oh
and
my god!
all PlayStation games get a
DJ
90
Hero.
plus.
I mean, fine. DJ Hero might be a great game, but seriously, DJ Hero is that much better than okay. Well, yeah, I like wow.
Well, I mean, he also Dan says that all of the PlayStation games that he reviewed got a 90 or higher. So I mean, it's again, if this was a PlayStation exclusive, it would have been 100, but it's fine. Highlander 001, generous friend of the program, drops an outstanding $10 super chat and goes on to say, on the subreddit for Call of Duty, a user said anyone on PS5 who buys Call of Duty for $70 is funding Call of Duty for free on Game Pass. It had over 100 likes. This is before the start of the advertising for COD. I mean, didn't we hear?
He ain't lying.
Maybe he's not lying.
Please buy.
We did hear that every time that Call of Duty sales were funding first-party development for PlayStation before the Microsoft owned it. So yeah, I mean it's possible.
Now you'll be funding ours. Thank you very much. Did you see oh no, it's Alex. He went over somebody who was talking about this that happens to talk about Xbox in a negative way, and after all his saying that it's the end of Xbox, it's like, but I'm going to play it on Game Pass because heck, I pay for Game Pass. I'm like, you guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
After all that, you're still going to use it anyway.
Yeah.
I hate heroin, but I'm going to take a bump anyway.
Again, it's one of those things. They are who we thought they were. Coach Green, classic. Slim Reaper drops a very generous $5 super chat and welcome to the program, Slim. He says the bias amplified when Microsoft won Publisher of the Year in 2022. They refused to let Xbox win again. I mean, that's a phenomenal point. I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, play the games, enjoy the games where you want to play them. And they're in Game Pass. Who cares if they give it a 50? It's a shame that exists and that actually. Like you would imagine, like I was saying before, and I lost my chain of thought. Like when you go to Rotten Tomatoes and you are a reviewer, you have to be accredited and you have to show proof that you saw the film, right? You take a picture of your movie ticket, you send it in, and your review is counted. With unfortunately Metacritic, let's say for instance you are a part of what's that one in they gave it a 45.
Metro?
Metro, yeah. Now, like I said, Metro, did they even play the game? I don't know. They can say they played the game. Where can I see how many achievements did you You know, all you gotta do is go to the community game card, and it'll tell you how many hours you play. Can I see your screen? Did you play an hour? You play 3 hours? Play 5 hours? Did you beat it? I don't know. So they just get a code, they put it on. They're like, oh man, it's actually really good. 45, and that review is counted. That is an accredited score. How is that possible? I don't know, but that's why the system is ultimately broken. Karma God 91 drops a very generous $5 super chat. Welcome to the program, Karma. Thank you so much for the generosity. He goes on to say, Black Viking, Asante Hargeet on this panel. Is this a tech show? Peace and blessings, fellas. Boom, my Steelers brother. Yes, indeed. I'm very excited for this year. They made
it can be.
It absolutely can be. You know what? So let's fast forward, because obviously we're at an hour and 12 minutes. We got about 48 minutes, give or take, left of the show. I wanna dig into, and I'm gonna go in reverse order. Asante, we have confirmation that Sony's State of Play is happening. It's happening on Thursday at 3 p.m. I believe. Is it 3 p.m. Eastern, or is that Pacific?
I think it's 3 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
It's 14 games. It is 30 minutes. Some of those games are going to be VR, for PlayStation VR 2.0, which they've already abandoned, but fine, whatever. And I have the tweet here, so let me read verbatim. This is directly from the PlayStation Twitter account, and says State of Play returns with a 30-minute broadcast this Thursday. Oh no, it's actually 3 p.m. Pacific time, which means that it would be 6 p.m. Eastern. And it says tune in live for updates on 14 PS5 and PlayStation VR 2 titles, including a look at PlayStation Studios titles arriving later this year. Now, it doesn't specifically say what those titles are. I mean, it could be Concord for sure. With the Jiggly Hamburger, it's always possible. We could get the God of War announcement for PC, which I believe is probably going to be at this show. That's one of their first party games, and I'm sure it's going to do well, because Ghost of Tsushima is doing very well on PC, and I think ultimately you're going to see a day and date on PC and PlayStation 5 moving forward. Probably May of next year, whatever their first party game is going to be, you'll see that day and date for both, and it makes sense. It makes financial sense. But Asante, I went in and I looked at a lot of the responses. And I didn't look at who was responding, because you get trolls, and who the trolls are, most of which I have blocked, so I wouldn't have seen seen what they said, because I haven't blocked or muted. But the genuine consensus from what it seemed like the average consumer are excited because PlayStation has not delivered on shows. They have not delivered on first-party games. They got one last year that was console exclusive, and they released MLB The Show that did better on Xbox than it did on PlayStation. Again, that's a regular thing. Go check the stats. But there is an excitement here because they're starving. PlayStation gamers are starving for information because Sony isn't telling it. Obviously, they got some games this year. Stellar Blade was number one, actually, for the month of April, which is great for Stellar Blade and the studio that developed it. Hellblade 2, Helldivers 2, a real surprise, like a super big surprise for that small studio. Sony made a lot of money. It did gangbuster numbers on PC, great. Some of the other stuff, not so much. Soap Stars, not so much. Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Rebirth, came and went. Nothing, you didn't hear much about it. Should PlayStation gamers be excited for this, or is this going to be another letdown?
I mean, as I've already said, I'm the guy who likes to peddle in positivity, so I hope so. I reluctantly signed back up to my PlayStation Plus account, so I want some usefulness out of it. I will give them a shout out. Animal Well, I played first on PlayStation Plus. They were smart enough to grab that for the month. Amazing game, indie game, 33 megabytes. I suspect that thing can run on a toaster, and it's one of the greatest games I've played in a long time. So shout out to them. It's independent developer. One person made it, and they scooped it up for for I think last month or something. So I was able to play it there. I hope that they are able to garner some actual genuine excitement, right? I don't know if it's the news that has just caught up with people or not, but everywhere I look, what do you think will be there? And it's just like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like usually when these states of plays or the state of play is announced, there's a rumor and speculation abound, right? Besides a potential update to Snake Eater and Concord, I don't really see much in the way of, hey, this is amazing and this is potentially coming. I hope we see another Ghost of Tsushima. Yes, I know it's Daddy's first samurai. I get it. It's not the deep well of historical accuracy that we're looking for. And I know why I say that. Calm down there, people. Don't get at me. But it's fun and I enjoyed it. I mean, I'm still continuing to play it on PC. It runs great on most of my hardware. So I will continue to play Ghost of Tsushima and I will beat it. I'm hoping smartly that they put it on PC because they know that the next iteration is coming and they want to get people excited, get people enthused about the franchise. So they hit you in the head with a 2.0, with the Unreal Engine 5 type graphics to really get you excited. That would be awesome, right? There's been dribs and drabs of insiders. Yes, there's that. They've already telegraphed the whole PlayStation, the whole PSVR 2 thing, which y'all heard me say it 1,000,001 times. I am the VR head in the room. I don't have a PSVR 2. I don't. They dropped the price by $100. Okay. And now they're talking about they potentially have a piece of hardware, an adapter to get it working on PC. Okay, right? You give me a bundle that gives me $100 off and an adapter, and you might get my dollary dues, as they say, right? We'll see where that goes, and we'll see how well integrated that device is on a PC. No weird dongles, no weird have to have a PS5 to make it work stuff, and you might have me. We'll see, right? I suspect that they will announce or show more stuff off there. Like, I want them to look. I have always wanted Xbox to succeed because they have earned it. When they got their asses handed to them, what did they do? They innovated. That's where you got your Game Pass. That's where you got your backup pad. That's where you got your quick resumes, right? And I want Xbox to succeed so it knocks PlayStation on their butt, so we stop getting the remakes and remasters over and over again, and then they start to innovate. Because they started that innovation cycle. They were always the great innovators. But of course, when you make a whole bunch of money, now all of a sudden you rest on your laurels, and it's always about the sure bets. Right? When your bets aren't sure anymore, then you get creative. And that's what I want, right? Yeah. I want to see the thing that I didn't expect them to do anymore. Hit me back up with SOCOM. Give me something exciting in that realm, right? You're talking about day and date multiplats. Hit me with SOCOM. Let's see what that looks like. I see you in the chat there, MJ Dark. He will sing it until the end of days. He wants a return for Infamous. Give us the Infamous collection. I would take that happily. That was a great franchise. It wasn't Spider-Man, so they completely left it in the rear view when you had a very good superhero-like franchise that you could have cultivated for your own, right? Do something innovative, Let me be a little weird and slanderous. You're turning your competitors into partners. How about we get an old Xbox franchise that comes on PlayStation? You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that, Sunset Overdrive remake or Sunset Overdrive 2, there are some potentials there. You want to make news, there's newsworthy things to be talked about, right? We've already heard, as Boom has alluded to, we've already heard that they're not doing any crazy big AAA games until mid-2025. Doesn't mean you can't show us what's coming out later. They showed us Final Fantasy when it was just a freaking sketch. And they got people excited for like 7 years before that thing actually came out. You can do that now. Where's my flute? Where's my drummer? Show me some mood music. Be confident. You know what I mean? They used to be confident. Even in the back door, they got nothing, but they still were super confident and they would win the day, right? It's not a showcase. It's a state of play. So we know to calibrate our expectations accordingly. But I want to be excited. I own this hardware. I enjoy this hardware. When I'm using it, I think it's great hardware to use. It's not as good as my Xbox, in my humble opinion. I will always think that. Why? Because for me, what you play is the controller you hold in your hand, and my controller will always be offset. It won't be straight line. It just is.
Yes,
so
sir.
because of that, I will always play on Xbox. Now, of course, my Xbox can be my PC, can be everywhere. As long as the controllers are offset, I'm good with that. But it doesn't mean I don't like my PlayStation. I re-signed to PlayStation Plus. I enjoy using that hardware. Give me reason to use it. For me, that's diversity in content, right? You don't have to, not every single game has to be the big monster God of War like. You can give me small things. And I'm not talking about what's the name of that dumb game they showed at that last State of Play?
Baby
Steps. Had that dude, Baby Step. Come on, right? You can give me that too, fine. But don't let that be the only thing you do, right? Like, be a bit more broad, be a bit more creative, because at this point you have no choice but to be creative. Money ain't there no more, right? Studios are having to be shut, but at the end of the day, business needs to be done. People need to be excited. Why do we own the hardware, right? And don't let it be, oh, by the way, here's, I don't know, GTA 6 running on a PS5 Pro, because I don't care how GTA 6 runs on a PS5 Pro, it'll never run as good as my PC. Like, I don't care. I just don't. That game will be everywhere. Epic Games will be giving it away for free in 2 years, 3 years. That's what's going to happen. And you know that because they've been giving GTA 5 away over and over and over again. I want to know what PlayStation specifically will bring to bear that will make it unique for us. There's rumor and speculation of Astrobot. I loved that game. I thought that game was awesome. To this very day, my children will sit on the couch and go, I want to play the thing with the robots. And I know exactly what they want to play.
I platinumed that game. That game was phenomenal.
It's phenomenal, right? And they know how to use their hardware to unique degrees, right? Like to this very day, it's what justifies the rumbles in that controller. No other game really comes close, right? And I'm not saying that use it as more of a tech demo like you did last time. Give me more in that world. I don't mind.
I got a great idea for that, K. Asante.
What you got?
I'll wait. Keep getting your bars off. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. But no. Like, look, basically, as I tend to say in these things, it's what I don't know coming is what I'm excited for. Like, show me reason why I own this hardware and why I'm excited to turn it on, because my wife hates dusting it all the time and it's not getting any use. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, listen, great points all around. Again, the unknown. I don't think you're going to get a first party reveal. I just don't. You may get an update to Concord. I don't know if we had heard in the background that Jade Raymond's game is a little bit rough. I don't know if you're going to get a chance to see that.
Maybe a DLC for Helldivers 2. You know that
maybe you'll get some Helldivers 2 in there, because obviously
show me some what Housemarque is working on. Just show me something. I love Housemarque. Show me what Housemarque is working on. They make big games, they make small games. Show me something, please.
No, it's a good point. Hargeet, I want to go to you, man. What are you expecting from the State of Play? Obviously, it's 30 minutes. It's 14 games, some of which are going to be VR. I don't expect anything big. I don't expect anything surprising. What's surprising to me is that there's not going to be an actual showcase happening when everyone else is doing that. And I think again, they don't have anything to show. They can't do a showcase. They're not going to waste the money. They can't show you games and give you a Year of Dreams Part 2. They're not going to do it, which is why you're getting a State of Play at the end of the month, nearly a week before the Xbox show goes off. What are your thoughts? What are your expectations for this?
So I think I think there's already something that Konami put out about Silent Hill 2. So I think that's kind of going to be there. And they said Thursday, right?
Yeah.
So it coincides. So I'm going to guess that's going to be there. Okay. So Silent Hill 2 remake, Final Shape. I think they're going to talk about that. It's coming out next week, right? When is that coming out? Final Shape. I think. Yeah. So they're going to probably talk about that. Right. V Rising, you mentioned that one.
Actually, and then
really that's next week too.
Yeah, and then I think Five Nights at Freddy's. That's coming up.
I hate to throw some cold water real quick. V Rising is on PC. It's been on PC for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Not that great. I hear.
Look, I like what I saw.
They're just gonna show it.
Yeah.
Everborn Saga bought it and went. And then put it back down.
But I think Five Nights at Freddy's VR is, I think, coming soon. So I think that might be something they do. There's the PSVR version coming, so maybe they'll show that. There's a bunch of maybes here. Okay, so baby steps, Concord. There's Metro Awakening VR. That's a potential. Metal Hellsinger VR. Forever Skies, Behemoth VR. So there's a bunch of VR options. And then I don't know. So like there's Raven's Watch, which is also coming out on their side. Sun and Bone. I don't know if these are going to be ready though. So if they are, maybe they show some of these things. But these are smaller games, right? They're not going to be bigger things. Now, is any of their are any of their studios ready to show something? Well, we know that none of their big games are coming. We got that from their financial updates. So then it would have to be something smaller. Housemarque could do something smaller. I don't think we see Astro yet, because if it was me, then if you're going to release a PlayStation 5 Pro, Astro has always kind of been the demo thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a full game. That's fine. But I think that's going to be the game that showcases a PS5 Pro. So I think that happens later in the year. I think you're going to get smaller things. It's possible Housemarque is ready with something. Maybe that's what you get to see. There were smaller games by Santa Monica Studio that they were working on. There's a smaller team working on a game while they were doing God of War. So that might be something they're ready with. But again, I don't know how, what that's going to look like, right? But, I think you're going to see a lot more little VR things and indie games from third parties than you are going to see a lot of things from them. But, Final Shape, that's one of their big games this year. I also think they're not going to show you PC releases. They've shied away from doing that because I think the PlayStation fans are very, very, very unhappy when they show that. So I think they're going to shy away from showing you any PC releases. I think it's going to be all console releases. But I think it's going to really kind of, it's a state of play, right? Don't expect a lot. It's more about, things that are coming up. That are
question,
releasing.
sir. Do we see the Call of Duty video on their stage?
Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. And if that happens, ridiculous. Shame on Xbox.
What do you mean?
It better not happen. No way.
Why not?
No way. No way. No way. That reveal. And by the way, they said the first reveal will be June 9th in the freaking trailer they put out.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Oh, no. I'm not talking about a first
touch
reveal. I'm talking about the same trailer you've seen, but on their stage.
Hell no. Hell no. Because you saw that trailer? It's got Xbox all over it. You think they're gonna put that on freaking there? No way. Good. I don't want anything to do with PlayStation and Call of Duty. Screw off. You
I'm being ridiculous.
I'm sure you PlayStation. There you go.
Boy, trying to give the man PTSD. Shit.
Nah. And I have 70 billion reasons why no. So yeah, it's gonna be more like that. I don't envision them really giving you something blockbuster. It's a state of play, right? So maybe you see Housemarque's game. Maybe you see one of the small side games that have been worked on by some of the bigger studios. But I think the big games are kind of, away. Like, don't expect like Wolverine. I think that even Insomniac came out and said, we're not ready. Don't expect that. So I think the showcase is going to kind of literally showcase why you should get a PS5 Pro. So it'll show you the next year and a half of things that are coming. But that's later in the year. So because they have that PS5 Pro, well, supposedly, right? This has never been confirmed. Supposedly they have a PS5 Pro coming. And if they're going to showcase it, it's generally around that time. It's going to be end of summer so that they can release it in the fall. So you should just expect it around that it's September-ish timeframe, August, September timeframe. They're going to have a showcase. And that's when they're going to tell you about that. And probably all the other games that are coming from all those other studios and when. Hopefully they're sometime slated in the next couple of years. We'll see. But I think this is going to be a smaller one. There's still third-party stuff to show. There's still like other deals they have for marketing, whatever, right? So they have those. And the big ones from them are going to be the Silent Hill, Final Shape, V Rising, I think is going to be there. Like things like that. I think that's in Concord. Maybe if that's ready, right? Because that can also be in the showcase. Maybe if that's ready, they'll put that in, right? So I'm kind of not expecting too much from them, but they could surprise us, right? The fact that they have one is good. I like that, but I don't really expect a lot because I know they have a showcase coming later, right? Well, I mean, I'm like 80% confident they have a PS5 Pro coming, and that requires them to have a showcase later. So
yeah.
So no, I mean, listen, it's again, I'm done. You know, right now, folks, don't fall for the banana and tailpipe, no matter what these so-called analysts and insiders are telling you. It's not going to be a massive reveal. It's just not. They don't have those games ready. It is going to show exactly the way. I think it's going to play out exactly the way Kayasante and Hargeet have depicted it already. But Black Viking, let's get first of all, thanks so much for that. There's for the information you put in there. That's pretty interesting that Herman Holtz, who of course is co-CEO of PlayStation, was just doing he was in front of a podium talking, and basically Tom Warren's reporting that live service games are going to be day and date for PC and for PlayStation, not so much for their first party games. Single player games are going to stay on PlayStation, and they're going to port older games to PC, according to the report, to entice people to buy a PlayStation 5.
And Microsoft said only 4. Only 4. No more, just 4.
Yep.
No more, less, no more, just 4.
So
I wonder if people will be as skeptical to Hearst as they are to Phil.
No, probably not. Like, oh, see, he's saying the truth. You see, you can't put first party. But anyway, what are your expectations for Thursday's show?
Yeah, so I have one really big surprise that I think, we've talked about it a little bit, but I think they just do a lot of stuff like with their normal partners, like Hargeet said, V Rising. You have Final Shape there. Until Dawn could show an appearance and probably have a date. Greedfall 2, I believe. I think they have marketing for that, so they could probably have a date for that as well. Baby Steps, Tower of Aghasba. I don't know how to pronounce that. But what I'm really excited for, because look, since Final Fantasy, like, my stuff has been dusty. I really want to see what Concord does, even though I probably play it on PC anyway, but I get excited for first person or third person multiplayer shooters. But I don't even know what the game is besides that it's in a spaceship and a juicy burger. Like, I don't know what else the game is, to be honest. But the one surprise, now hear me out. I had some time to think about this because I kind of forgot about Astrobot. And I want to hear y'all's thoughts on this too. They went into this whole live service deal, like ramping up. There's like 12 live service games, and then they cut that down to like 6 or whatever. I think Astrobot might be one of them. Now hear me out. What you use the same kind of tech that you used for the last Astrobot, but you make it into a Fall Guys. Okay.
That's actually not a bad idea, to be honest with you.
Every single level that is in there is based off of a PlayStation IP.
Pretty interesting stuff right there. I play that.
I would eat that up. So like you have a Horizon
see the microtransactions
level
now.
Yes, a Horizon.
Oh boy.
Yep. Skins would go crazy. And you can kind of evolve that into a whole platform.
Robot Aloy, come on now. That sounds itself. Come on.
100%. Put you to sleep, baby.
Viking, what you're doing, right? You're taking away that PlayStation exclusive because it's going to be day and date PC.
It will be day and date PC. Yes, of course. But I think that was their direction. And like if I'm thinking about this properly, companies always want to go with the new hotness. 4 years ago, the new hotness for multiplayer was Fall Guys. Right. Okay. So like making an Astrobot, I'm telling you guys, I think that would hit on so many a Fall Guys Astrobot, all the levels and the skins are based off of PlayStation IP. It would do numbers.
You heard it here first. When it happens, Negro Damas right here. Let's go. All right.
But I hope that's what happens. I would play the hell out of it because Astrobot was hella cool, man. I would play that.
I absolutely loved Astrobot to the point where I was like, I'm platinum in this game. And Fall Guys, I played religiously when that game came out. I play now with my nephew Tyler. We have all kinds of skins. We got Master Chief. We have Godzilla. He plays with Sonic. It's great. That is a fantastic idea. I would definitely play an Astrobot, level Fall Guys level type of game. And you know something? If I saw something in there like a Nathan Drake skin or something,
or Kratos skin. I mean, you can go all the way back. You know what I mean? You can have Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal.
Say that, yes.
You can have so much. You know what I mean? They have so many.
Haven't they already telegraphed all that? If you play Astrobot, you see all the really cool robot characters. There's Robot Kratos. There's all these already in there. I'm like, so cool. Such a great idea. Imagine.
So let's do
running around like one of them. Yeah.
Push it.
Right.
Let's do
it.
It's
like Fortnite. It sells itself. It's good.
It sells itself, and you can make hand over fist money, and then eventually you can make it into a platform to where you have something like party animals in it. You can have so many different types of things. I think it's genius. I think that's the route that because I don't think a platformer Astrobot, like it'll be, even if they sold it for 40 or 50, that'll entice some. The reason why Astrobot was so successful is came with your PlayStation. Right, but charging for it, and only having.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm buying that game day and day.
Right,
I like platformers, so they get my money.
Right. No, and I agree with that. I would buy it too. It's just I think we're a very few out of the bunch. I think they're trying to think long term for live service, because with the host stuff, they just had their game network meeting or whatever. It was reported that 51%.
Yep.
51% of all of PlayStation's revenue comes from 10 games.
Wow.
10.
How many of those are Xbox
games?
I will.
How many of those are
probably two, at least two.
So you have EA FC, Apex Legends, Call of Duty, NBA 2K, The Show, Fortnite, Genshin Impact, Madden, Grand Theft Auto, and Destiny. All those account for 51% of their revenue.
Wow, Minecraft's not in there at all, huh? Wow.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that. I expected Minecraft to be in there too. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Minecraft is a beast on Switch and PC. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And how many of those are in Game Pass?
Ooh, let's see.
Hard free to play. Forget the free to play ones. How many of those are in Game Pass?
The FC move there.
Yes,
FC's in there. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Madden's in there.
Madden's in there. Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto's in there, right? Still, right?
Yes,
it was, but
right
not.
now.
Is it
not
still?
Anymore?
Okay.
It came back in. To my knowledge, it's in there now.
Yeah, The Show, and then Destiny's free to play, right? So, yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
crazy.
So all the ones that aren't free to play are in Game Pass.
Yeah,
basically.
which is how, again, all jokes aside, it's ultimately how they're going to snatch up the casual audience. Because you know what else we found out? More than 50% of current PlayStation users are on PS4s. More than 50%. Now, granted, Call of Duty is supposedly going to be cross-gen, which is shameful at this point because whatever. But I guess they don't want to lose that money. They don't want to force people over. At some point, you're going to have to.
If you're a Call of Duty player, there are already people who are on PS4 saying, "Yo, I'm switching to Xbox."
Yes, there are a lot of people. I've talked to three that I know for a fact. They're like, "What is this Game Pass?" And I'm like, it's cool."
And boom, send them my video so they can get it on discount. They can get Game Pass on discount for the same cost as buying freaking COD.
Guys, it's not going to be the Black Ops 6 that has them coming in droves. It's not. It's going to be your third. It's your 30 and up old school Call of Duty players. When they put all of them in there, they are going to go ape shit. Excuse me.
No. You said that on the show. Yesterday's show, as a matter of fact, where you said the 30 and up club, and I'm like, you know what? he's on to something here because
Oh yeah.
Again, Call of Duty going into Game Pass, groundbreaking. It's honestly, I can't believe it's happening, and it's happening. But when they make that announcement and they say the entire slate of every Call of Duty from Call of Duty 2 on the Xbox 360 or 1.
They ported 1 to 360 as well. So you can have all of them.
You literally can have the whole collection. Yeah, so one to present.
All of them
in Game Pass. People are going to come over in droves. Yeah, it's
and you don't have to double dip. You can play, and then once you go over to your PC, you can play them there too, and then you can play them on your ROG or your Legion Go. Right, you can play them wherever you want. Yep.
Listen, again, it's we as consumers, we should be cheering this. We should be championing this kind of behavior from a $3 trillion company. We should not be trying to make excuses for the $1 billion company that nickel and dimes you at every corner. You shouldn't do that. I understand if you like the box, that's awesome, but ask for more. Ask for better. Don't sit there with shit in your teeth and say, "Can I have another bite of your shit sandwich?" Don't do that because it tastes nasty. Just don't do it. But look, I got to catch up on super chats. We're going to end the show a little bit earlier than normal because I'm exhausted. This has been one hell of a week. Let me catch up on super chats, and then of course we'll do the outros. Congratulations to the Black Viking who's sitting now of the Longhouse Gaming Podcast over 2K. So a big thank you to everybody in the chat that helped that along. I dropped Hargeet's link in there so you can subscribe to his channel. I'd like to see him hit 500 before we're out of here. He put on a couple of again. He's on everyone's podcast now. He's getting serious about doing content for his. We want to support him, and of course, you cannot take away what Kay Asante has done since he showed up on the scene. As a matter of fact, he is going to have the entire crew from the Longhouse Gaming Podcast on Saturdays. GCP.
Bro. I have it on authority that the Black Viking is bringing the horn. It's going to be a party.
That's right, baby.
Yeah. So we will get into that in a hot second. But as Karma God 91 drops an additional very generous $5 super chat and says, "Boom. Have you ever thought about starting a Steelers channel? I know you're busy with the Xbox content, but I know your Steelers coverage would be fire." I appreciate that, brother. Let me tell you something. I don't have even time in the day to sometimes play games. Because not only do I produce 5 shows, I'm also handling a household. Because Mrs. Boom is still, she's not retired like me yet. So there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that I do that need to get done. And I literally do the shows, and I'm being serious about my health. Like I'm working out every day. It's a lot, to be honest with you. But I appreciate the confidence. I thought about doing other channels, especially when it comes to like MCU movie stuff. I'm like a huge MCU nerd. I love the MCU, and it just not enough time in a day. Highlander 001 drops an additional very generous $5 super chat and says Activision won a $14 million lawsuit against a site that makes cheaters for Call of Duty, and they have to shut down. This is great news. Yeah, I saw that report today. 14 million. That's a big payout. And you know what? Shame on them for making cheaters, because nobody wants to play against cheaters. That sucks. But listen, let's get to the outros. Kay Asante, as I just said, GCP is going to be without your other half of Everborn Saga because he's going to be doing some traveling, but you got some really amazing backup, and we could get a horn blow or two live on the air. Right, baby. And as he said yesterday, these lips aren't for free.
These lips ain't for free, baby. They cost $20 or more. I'll blow for 20 and up, baby.
Man. Okay.
Pause. Moody.
Right. I'm talking about the horn, guys. I'm talking about the horn.
Is it long and hard?
Oh my goodness. Okay, Asante, brother. Sell the brand of the Gaming Circle podcast. It is a phenomenal show. You are trucking along with subs. Everyone that you have earned is well deserved, and you should have 5 times that amount, in my opinion. Sell the brand, kind sir.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's always great to be here on Wednesdays. You know, some days I have to miss it, and I'm sad about it. It's become a something I look forward to. It breaks up the week. You know what I mean? Stop the BS with work and talk about gaming with my favorite people. This is great. Thank y'all so much for having me as usual. K Asante, TKO Asante, and all the places we find ourselves this Saturday. Like Mr. Everborn, as Mr. Boomstick said, Everborn will not be with us because he will be traveling. He might jump in. I'm not sure. It seems like he may not be available, but of course, I called in some backup, and man, we got the Longhouse. We got the whole crew joining our show for Saturday morning, and yes, it is going to be fun. We're going to start the hype train. You know, we're going to talk about. I'm actually thinking we're going to watch last year's showcase and speculate on what's happening in the next few weeks, because you know some of us are going to be in the spot. So I'm so excited to be there when it happens, and I want to talk about it with the brothers. So it's going to be great. Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, you may need some coffee in the beginning, but after he blows that horn, you'll be all right. So
that's right.
Come join us. This should be fun. Appreciate y'all for
Absolutely.
being here.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. And I'll be tuning in as I always do on Saturday mornings to check out what you guys have to say. And yes, there is a lot of excitement. Again, listen, there you have the IGN showcase, which is supposed to have some new reveals that are specifically for that event. You have the Keeleys, which is Friday, which you know you're going to get a couple of reveals. And obviously on Sunday to round out everything else, you have, of course, the Xbox showcase, which unfortunately we're all leaving on Monday, but supposedly on that Monday, on the 10th, there's going to be stations of playable Indiana Jones and Avowed. And I'm sorry, I'm going to miss it. I would have loved to record footage, but I'm going to be flying out of LA to get back here for Tuesday's show to kind of go over everything. There will not be a show, obviously, on Monday because I'll be traveling, but there will be a Tuesday show, and it's going to be a big one. I'm going to see if I can get a very large panel to kind of celebrate what happened at the Xbox event, but we'll go over that as we get close. Hargeet, let's sell your brand, brother. Obviously, not only do you have a book to sell, but you also have a YouTube channel that you want people to subscribe because you're now starting to put content on there. And so, some of the content is really thought-provoking. You have a new video you dropped a couple of days ago that is very good. I literally have it in front of me. It is the first-party output Xbox versus Nintendo versus PlayStation. That was really good. And you are currently working on the state of PlayStation, which I cannot wait to hear. Talk about both where they can get your book and where they can subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Absolutely. So yeah, you can check out the link right here, shop.chani.us. That's where you can get my book Emergence. There's links there to the Amazon page and Barnes & Noble, et cetera, et cetera. You can go there. If you want to get a signed copy, you can also pick one of the signed copy bundles. There's also some merch if you like it. And then to subscribe to my channel, it's Hargeet Chani 1. So youtube.com/Hargeet Chani 1.
I just dropped the link into the chat.
Yeah. Awesome. So subscribe, and I'll be throwing together that video. I actually want to get I have a bunch of stuff already, but I want to get a bunch of other things that I've cataloged before of stuff that's been happening to PlayStation Land for the last year or two. So I'll put that all together and then put the video together. But yeah, then check me out. I'll be doing 2 back-to-back nights of podcasts with C Money and Doodle. They're doing the one that's supposed to be this afternoon before your show, Boom. They had to move that because they had some family commitment to do. So they moved that tomorrow, 8 p.m. US Eastern on the On Point for Gamers channel. And then the night shift usually starts at 6. It's now going to be moved to 7. We're going to do 7 p.m. US Eastern on Friday. So check that out. And then Fonz is taking a week off, and then we'll be going obviously to the showcase. So we'll be taking the second week off because, well, we'll all be watching, the June showcase. And then hopefully we'll come back after that. So we're going to have a couple of weeks off on GameStop Live. And then we'll, figure out when we start back up. So we'll wait about that one. And then back here on Wednesday, I'm sure, we'll have something. There's always leaks, right? So we'll
next
see what
Wednesday's show is going to be about a 90-minute show because I'm flying out the next morning, so I really can't stay for 2 hours. But we are doing our prediction show. It's going to be the entire show is going to be just each guest is going to give their prediction 90 minutes.
Unless something breaking happens, right?
Unless of course something breaking happens, and then we'll of course
cover
that.
Sounds good. So
listen, again, thanks for being here as always. I super appreciate the help. Again, you popped in yesterday, so we definitely appreciate that. The Black Viking, let's sell your brand. We can say we are officially on the hunt for 3K.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. You know what I'm saying? We always on the hunt for more, you know?
By the way, Mrs. Boom just subscribed to Hargeet Chani's channel. As per the chat. Thanks, hon.
That's dope. No, I really appreciate you and Chad. I appreciate y'all for going to the channel and subbing up, man.
And really she just told to mention to you that she has just subscribed to the Longhouse Gaming podcast, as Mrs. Boom does for everyone.
That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. Hey, so for y'all in the chat, like whenever I was talking about, you know, how much the lips cost and all that, I really do. I have a horn here. Okay. Like I really blow into this. Okay. Like $20 of a super chat or more, or like 5 gifted subs, I blow into this thing. So it's not just, you know, a metaphor for for anything else. It's real life. Okay.
IRL.
Just to let y'all know. But no, thanks for having me on, Hargeet. K Asante, man, it's always a pleasure. You know, talking to you folks. Same with you, Boom. One of the most generous dudes in the podcast game, man. I love it, man. Also, yes, I will be on GCP this weekend. We have our regular shows every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Oh, yes, that's right. I am the master blower. LeBurn 98. But yeah, I'll be on K Asante's show GCP this Saturday, and then I'll also be entering my first time. I'm so excited. I'll be entering the realm for the first time on the Iron Lords podcast.
Excellent,
this Sunday. Super excited about that, man. We just gonna be talking about games, man. I'm super excited. So yeah, again, thank you for having me on, hitting me up for this Wednesday's podcast. And if you guys have not, go check out my review for Hellblade on Twitter, and you'll be able to see my little score sheet there. That
is excellent.
Pissed so many people off.
Yeah, no, listen, a shakeup in the industry is what is needed. And you knew, I could tell you this, you knew you hit a nerve when they responded to you by saying this, that, and the other thing. That's how you know you got real close.
They actually helped me. I mean, they put my name out there. Now I gained like 250 followers. Like, it was great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, negative Nancy's. Appreciate that. Real quick, Anonymous Boss drops a very generous $5 super chat and says the Xbox is the best box. I'm waiting for Fable, Stalker 2, Gears 6. Sony got baby steps, like Hargeet agreed. Totoki said, how are we still in business? I mean, listen, they'll come around eventually. Who knows? And by the way, did you see what happened with the lead of Naughty Dog? Sony should be ashamed of themselves. They changed what he had to say.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a bad look. We're probably going to get into that probably on Friday's Breakfast of Boom. I just got a story. I want to read through it. I want to read exactly what was changed, because that's definitely a bad look for Sony. And I don't think that the relationship is as strong as it once was. I wouldn't be surprised that after his next game, he's gone. I'm talking about Neil Druckmann. But look, big thank you to all of the super chats that have come in. They allow for Mrs. Boom and I to do the big giveaways. We have a lot of stuff giving away towards the end of the year. As we get closer to those events, we'll be doing more advertising to let you know when you can be here. The next big one is in September. We're giving away 15 copies of Stalker 2. Your platform of choice, whether it be PC or Xbox. We're doing it. We're buying full price copies of the game to give to you, and it's our small way of supporting the dev. And they've had a real hard time putting this game together. A lot of heart, a lot of loss, a lot of trials and tribulations. So we want to kind of give back to that team, and we're going to do it by giving away 15 copies. That's the first big giveaway, and we have a few more after that, which we will get into. But of course, I'm going to close out today's show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids, and he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends.